always have been. In the ring and in business. 30 years of battles, rising, falling, rebuilding. I've made money, I've lost money, but it wasn't until I created Zapata Systems was I able to really find my way out. But the toughest fight, it wasn't physical. It was watching money walk out the door week after week, whether to vendors charging too much or labor not justifying the revenue. That money stress, it doesn't always stay at work. It follows you home, turns into arguments, cold dinners, and broken peace. And then there's the IRS, back taxes, deadlines, pressure you can't punch your way out of. Zapata System shows you what you're really paying. It gives you control, leverage, and savings. This isn't about surviving. It's about winning. You're in a fight. Start acting like it. Zapata Systems. Fight smarter.
What's up, guys? I am Joe Zapata with my boy Gregg Valentino. What's up, Greg?
Say hello to the bad guy.
Greg, you got a giant knife sticking out the back of your back.
Shit. No, listen. Let me. Before we start, I just want to say to all you guys that think like there's no problem between me and Dave. It hurts me that he does like ambush me, and he doesn't take my word for it. He takes these guys' word because they're the Barbarian Brothers. Wait, my beads are sticking out. I just want to say, Dave. I know. Fuck, these beads are sticking out. I'm sorry, my rosary beads. I know he loves me, and you know how you know he loves me? Because he picks on Jimmy the Bull, and where Jimmy gets so mad, he hangs up on Dave, right? And he does the same thing with George, tells George and Jimmy about their teeth and about this and about how George fighting and shit like that. He doesn't like, George punches slow or some shit, whatever he says, but George picks on me. So that's how you know Dave loves you. But, that's not the kind of love I want. I want you to believe me. And Joe did some, I got to be honest with you. Joe, you should have been I should talk to Joe Pietaro, see if they have a spot for you on NYPD as the fucking detective over here, because I know that you talk to, I'll let you run with it.
All right. So, guys, for you guys to know the backstory, Dave said he had talked to Peter, the Paul, the Barbarian, and he claims Greg doesn't know Greg or whatever, doesn't remember. And there's a bunch of stories that the Lyle Alzado story was not true. Okay. Now, I reached out to Ed Connors. I reached out to Mark Lyons, who was Lyle Alzado's best friend growing up. I reached out to I know a lot of pro wrestlers, so I reached out to a bunch of people to talk to Dan Gable, because apparently Dave said that those guys were wrestling and training with Dan Gable. Okay. I went deep, called a lot of people, got a lot of emails back, a lot of feedback, still waiting for some responses. However, we're going to break it down here and kind of just talk through everything. First of all, he says he doesn't remember you from the gym, Greg, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, we have clear evidence here. I'm going to pull it up. You in Gold's Gym right there, right?
Yeah, that's me. That's at the end of 81, maybe beginning of 82. Look at the cars.
Okay. And who is this one right here? That's
Eddie Giuliani. Eddie Giuliani was running World's Gym for Joe Gold. So I used to train at World's Gym in the morning, every morning, and then I'd walk all the way to Gold's Gym, which is, blocks and blocks away, right? And then I'd go to Gold's Gym, and I'd stay there from sometimes noontime till they closed at 10. I would just be there fucking working out and just nonstop. I'd eat, a little bit and then work out more. And I was a kid. Look what I looked like, okay? I grew my hair out. When I first got there, I had my hair a little bit slicked back because it was from New York. Right. So, we were ahead of the curve there. I had my hair slicked back, no facial hair, but out there, everybody's like a hippie and shit. So I had a little fucking thing on my head. I grew a mustache and, this is later. This is me and Joe Gold. That's much years later. I was actually dieted for a show there, but this is Joe Gold's 70th birthday party. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And now if you guys look at this picture, Joe Zapata saw this picture in a gym.
Gold's Gym.
Yeah, this is Gold's Gym. This was taken in Gold's Gym in Venice Look in the front row who you see, the guy sitting down. You can see Ray Menser, Mike Menser. You see Samir Banu. There's me all the way. See the guy all the way to the
right
left
here. That's you.
with the gray jacket, the stripes, the little fro thing there. But with the, I forgot who that is in the yellow. Okay, he was a very top body. But then there's Rod Kuntz and Roger Callard right there. Chris Dickerson's there. If you keep going to the right, you see Chris Dickerson. The Barbarian Brothers were in the back somewhere. Mike Christian was there. They're all, if you look real close, you can pick out all those guys. This is the, you know, the picture.
So clearly you were there. Clearly you were there.
Oh yeah. I mean, that picture is on Ed Connor's wall in Gold's Gym in Venice.
Yeah. So Ed Connors, who is the owner of Gold's Gym Venice, where everything happened. Here is actually me and Ed Connors. I was actually interviewing Ed Connors just the other day, back and forth. And then I emailed Ed Connors because I said, what's going on with this story? And Ed sent me an email back and he confirmed it. He said, Joe, he said, I believe the story was true. He said, I'm not sure if it happened in the gym or not, but he says Alzado was yelling at him, and it was rightfully so because he had seen how the barbarians lived. It happened to Ed. He said he knows how they live. They were barbarians. It's in his book. So he said it was true. Now, people are going to argue, maybe Dave or going to say, oh, that's the narrative they heard. But they were saying that Dave and Peter Paul said that the barbarians got thrown out of the gym, but all of them got thrown out. Lyle got thrown out also. All three of them got thrown out. So for a couple months. So the only narrative that was told was from the owners, and Ed said it was true. So there's, another thing. Thank you. Now, another thing. Go ahead. What do you want to say?
Oh, I was going to say, Larry says the same story. Larry was telling Dave that day. What Greg's saying is true. It's the same story. Larry heard the same story. Okay, Larry was out there. I don't know if Larry was there in 81 and 82 when I was there. I was there the day it happened, but it was there later. And when I was talking to Peter Siegel and a few other guys, Grimkowski came over to tell, I think it was Siegel who he was talking to, but I was with them. And I'm standing there. I was a kid. They didn't know my name. I was just a kid you saw every day in the gym, just like you guys see kids every day in the gym. And he was saying, yeah, bro, I had to tell the fucking, they were going crazy. And they were trying to protest it. Like, bullshit, we didn't do it, But what he was saying was that they wrecked Alzado's house they were like house sitting. They wrecked this house. And when Alzado came home, he called the gym and started threatening them at the gym. Like, I'm going to kick their fucking asses. Right.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that's when I think Ed Connors and Grimkowski's told them, time out.
Yes.
You cool down. All you guys take like 3 months, 6 months, whatever it was, 3 months off from the gym and calm the fuck down.
Okay.
That's what that was.
Now, there was a couple of fights that happened in the gym between them, a couple of scuffles. But there was on the show, it said that he trained possibly with Dan Gable. That's what the Barbarian said. They trained with Dan Gable. I know wrestlers really well. I look into the story, try to reach out to Dan. So far, I have no confirmation that's true. From what I heard, it's not, but I don't know. I'm not going to say that. However, Lyle Alzado, we know he fought Muhammad Ali. Okay, that's right there. You see that he fought Muhammad Ali,
right?
And then also, Lyle Alzado was an accomplished amateur boxer who held a record of 44-1. Was in a 1969 Golden Gloves tournament and lost to a guy named Ron Stafer, who beat Ernie Shavers. Okay,
right.
So he knew how to fight,
dude. He won the Golden Gloves. I tried to tell Dave. See, I love Dave, and Dave's my friend, guys. There's no problems with me and Dave. Hear that again. There's no problems with me and Dave. I love Dave. I'm not throwing Dave under the bus, but I don't know why he takes. He kept saying like, "Well, I believe the Barbarian Bros." It's almost like calling me a liar. There's no way, and I'm going to say this right here, right now. The both Barbarian Brothers, just because they're big, and I don't care if they bench 1,000 pounds. Both of them at one time are not going to take Lyle Alzado. Lyle Alzado was at least 3-4 inches taller than him, bigger than them, was a badass motherfucker, okay? And John Romano, who has told the same story as I have.
Yep.
Again, I don't know if he was there in 81, 82. I didn't know him then. I was a kid in the gym, okay? I didn't, I used to drive the bar, not all the time, but 4 or 5 times I drove the Barbarian Brothers home. One of them at home. They didn't, I was just a kid. I would have done anything. I was the water boy. Somebody, smart ass, said Valentino was the water boy. Yeah, I was there. Because I fucking soaking all that shit in. And there's pictures, Joe. You have pictures of me and Samir Banu in there and everything like that. Yep. Okay. I tell a story about how they fucking puked. And if I was with a chick and it splatted on her, she fucking ran, or she cried. I sent a picture of the girl too. I still have, I haven't talked to her. This is 44 years ago. That girl's now an old lady. You know what I mean? But the thing is, if Peter Barbarian doesn't, he knows who I am. Joe, what's his name? David Barbarian worked for Muscular Development when I worked there. Okay, we used to go to dinner. The first time we went to dinner, he goes to me, where do I know you? I know you, right? He knew who I was, Gregg Valentino, but he knew, like he's saying, but you look for me like I know you before. And I said, yeah, I used to go to Coach, but I was a kid. You know what I mean? I was, I looked totally different. And, we were laughing and everything. I tell you what he ate. He ate a fucking Steve Bleckman brought me, John Romano, him, and all of us out to dinner. He ate a Colby beef a hamburger. The fucking thing cost like $120. You know what I'm saying? But so that was David. Now, if Peter says, "Well, I don't remember Gregg Valentino being there," or I don't know what whatever. I don't give a fuck. That was many moons, many mushrooms ago.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like I don't give a fuck. But I love Dave. But Dave, I'm not a liar.
Yeah,
dude, I tell you everything, Dave. I tell you intimate shit about me. I would never fucking lie. When I tell you something, what do I have to gain by that shit? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Now, Dave said that Peter was incapable of lying. Well, this is a story here that he said that Lyle Alzado came up to him after when he was 33 years old and he was washed up and asked them to train him, Lyle, because the NFL said he was washed up. So they said, Peter said that they trained him and put him on steroids for the first time. Now, I'm going to tell you what, that's a lie, because Sports Illustrated and ESPN said, and even Lyle Alzado said, that he started taking anabolic steroids in 1969 through college and never stopped through his entire NFL career. So right there, that's a lie. Okay. Now he says that also that Peter said that Lyle became a badass when that happened. Let me tell you something. Look at Lyle's football career. He was a Pro Bowler. Okay. He was called 3 Mile Lyle when he was with the Denver Broncos, and he was part of the cardiac kids defense on the Cleveland Browns because they were so good and he was so wild that he would hit you. They would say it would be like giving someone a cardiac arrest. Okay. He was an animal on the field. Tom Jackson from the Denver Broncos says it. Howie Long says it. He was an animal on the field. Okay. Just that the Cleveland Browns traded him in that year, in 81 or 82, because, they said they want to go younger. And he took Denver Broncos to a Super Bowl. They didn't win, but he took the Raiders to the Super Bowl and they won. He was doing this well before steroids, well before
taking his helmet off and fighting guys with his helmet off, beating guys. He took another guy's helmet off his own head as he headbutt. He was fucking crazy. I used to see him in the gym. He was so big and he was just such a big. I didn't even go near the guy. You know what I mean? I never talked to him, but I was a kid in the gym. Here I am. There they are. It's the same thing what Dave said. Now, listen to me. Victor Richards and I have a history, right? We've been talking, we go back and forth. We've had arguments even in the fucking 90s. He was supposed to, in the 80s, for Christ's sake, he was supposed to guest pose once for me. When I tell the story about the sponges, he said Victor doesn't remember that story, right? Well, maybe not. It was a big thing to me because he, and a barbarian, but he was in so many fucking, he had so many instances, Victor Martinez. Even you said that Ed Connor said he was shooting gun off.
Ed Connor told me that Victor Richards shot a gun in the gym and they kicked him out because the bullet fell in the register.
Right. Register. Now, but what would I have to gain about telling a story that I used sponges because he oiled his arms? Well, do you understand what I'm saying? But there again, now maybe Victor doesn't remember that for legit because it wasn't a thing for him, but it was a thing for me. Do you understand? Because I had never seen, I was awed by him. And, I told you, I was his slave boy. To lift up them fucking dumbbells that he would fucking have. And, 100 fucking, 200, what am I talking about? Like 240-pound dumbbells. You know what I'm saying? And I did I couldn't even move those fucking things. It would bust my balls. But yeah, I was the water boy because I loved it so much. I was just there. I soaked it up. Whatever anybody did. And I watched everything that went on all the time. I was in Disneyland, but I never said that I was one of the crew there, like me and the Barbarian Bros. Yo, what's up? I didn't do that shit. They did that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Now, it was said that that Lyle Alzado asked to borrow $20,000 because he had a Rolls Royce, and he wanted to get a Mercedes, and he borrowed it from the Barbarian Brothers. Now, the one thing I don't know is he was a popular football player. He was making money. I don't know why he would need to borrow $20,000 from them, bodybuilders. Now, for what I found out, Lyle Alzado owned a Rolls Royce in 1985. Okay. That's a little bit after the time this fight happened. Okay. It was a 1985 Rolls Royce he owned.
Right.
He was getting rid of it. So I don't know what happened there. However, the fight did happen in the gym, and they had a couple encounters. One at the bench. Apparently, a towel was put on the bench. It was thrown off, and Lyle did punch one of the Barbarians and hurt him.
But I think, Joe, again, Joe and I talked about this before the show. I don't remember, because when Dave ambushes me, and my brain starts going, so I don't remember everything. But am I wrong? But did Dave say that that the Barbarian, and this is not about bad Dave. Dave's just listening to whatever the fucking Peter's saying. But did Peter say that they beat up Lyle, or that Lyle was afraid?
They said that they said they would have beat his ass. That's
not at the same. We should get John Romano. I asked Dave if he wanted to be on here, but he didn't get back to me. Again, this is not about. This is not about bad Dave. Dave's listening to the Barbarian. He's basically kind of taking his fucking word over mine. You know,
exactly.
The fucking guy right now sits around with long hair. He used to play guitar. I don't know if he said something about me with sunglasses. So why is that guy got to wear sunglasses? Why does Valentino wear sunglasses? Whatever the fuck. Yeah. Now, because I got the bad. You know the story. Okay.
Yep.
Now, at least I didn't change my fucking face and shit. Walk around with looking like the Mask. You know what I'm saying? Like. I don't want to hear any bullshit from that shit.
Why would this story come out now, 44 years later?
Yeah, who really cares? Really?
Why would this story come out now? Why didn't he debate, Lyle back then, saying, "Hey, your story's bullshit. I'll fight you now"? No, because if he was alive today, Lyle, Peter would not be saying anything.
He would. Let me tell you something. Alzado was a fucking madman. He was known for that. John Romano tells stories about that. Bro, he would take a fucking plate if he was pissed and throw it in the fucking air like this. He didn't give a shit.
Yep. They changed a rule in the NFL. They changed a rule called the Lyle Alzado rule. True story. That means when your helmet comes off, you cannot use it as a weapon. Because Lyle Alzado was using it as a weapon. That was a rule that they changed in the NFL. That's how crazy he was on the field.
I saw it. I remember when he did it. Listen.
He did it against Chris Bird, who played for the Jets. He did it against one of the Jets players.
Yeah, did Joe Pitaro, who's a sports, he used to be a sports writer. He was there in the fucking, in the broadcast booths and shit. And he said that he took the Jets guy's helmet off and started beating him with his own helmet. Listen, Lyle Alzado, again, I was a fly on the wall. I was in the gym. Okay. I wasn't involved in any scandal. The only scandal I was involved in, and it wasn't a scandal, it was a scandal to me, was when Victor Richards had his arms oiled, and he kept yelling at me. So I put my spongers that you see, I still use them today. And I helped him with his fucking thing. And the Barbarian Brothers broke his balls because he had his arms oiled, and he took it out on me. Okay. Yeah. But he was involved in so many scandals. I don't think he knows what the fuck's up. These guys are all fucking, you know what I'm saying? This is 44 years ago.
Yes, and I'm sure he doesn't remember.
I was just a kid, like all you guys watching this. No different from a kid I have no reason to bullshit or lie or anything like that. When I said I gave them a ride home, okay, I used to give them a ride, not all the time. Once in a while, he'd say to me, "Do you have a car? Give me a ride fucking home." And I'd be like, "Okay," you know what I mean? Because in the middle of my workout, I would leave and because I was a schmuck and I was a kid. They, whether he didn't even know my name, but he would say, he'd see me in the gym. Hey, kid, come here. Do you have a car? Give me a fucking ride. You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit.
Yep.
So I would do it.
Yep. Rick Simon, shout out to Rick Simon there. I'm going to get to the comments too, guys. We're just finishing up here. Yeah. So, and my only problem with Dave is you're one of his guys. Be part, stick up for your guys, You're one of Dave's guys, loyal guys. You and Dave go back a long way. That he's your guy. He's kind of seemed to take Peter's side, which is kind of crazy because
that hurts a little bit. That does hurt a little bit. Okay, and I admit that. But Dave, that's almost, it's a sick way, but it's almost like when a boy likes a girl, he pulls her hair, or like when a kid, in school, sometimes you pick on the one that you love. Dave, I know Dave loves me, but it's a weird thing. He does it with Jimmy the Bull. Jimmy, you got no teeth in the back mouth of this day. George, you can't fight. Look at it, George. You look funny the way you throw punch. And they both get mad, and they don't come on the show. It doesn't mean Dave don't love you. It just means that's how Dave is. Okay, that's how I know he loves me, because he picks on me. But Jesus Christ. John Romano tells the same story. Larry was saying that day, no, Dave, I heard this. That's the story. That's the right story. And, you don't say to Larry, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, basically, so you know what's going to happen? They're going to wind up, instead of telling me, I'm sitting there, I'm going to be on a show one of these days, right? Maybe next week, whatever. And all of a sudden, we're going to be talking about maybe Larry's gym or something. And then all of a sudden, he's going to be like, oh, we got a guest coming on right now. It's Peter Barbarian. Here you go. There goes Ambush Greg Valentino. I don't fucking know you. Fuck with it. And then I'm going to tell him, listen, I'll put a mushroom on the end of my cock and then you can suck it because I don't give two fucks, bro. It's 44 years ago. 44 years ago. I don't give a fuck how much you bench, any of that shit. Dave doesn't equate that. He doesn't get that because a guy's strong doesn't mean anything. Lyle Alzado was fucking just as strong, if not stronger. Okay. He was big and he was a mental case. Yep. Okay. They were just crazy as a show. Like, hey, what's going on? Like that kind of shit. Yep. But he was legitimately fucking nuts.
Yep. I mean, Ed Connors confirmed it. I saw that Ed Connors confirmed it.
Wall and Ed Connors. Somebody, I gotta get this picture, Joe. I'll send it to you. We'll put it up or something. I don't have it here. I got it on the other computer, but I'll send it up. You can put it up next week if you want. It's of me in Weeder headquarters. A picture of me doing a fucking double bicep from behind on Weeder headquarters wall.
William Allen says Dave lives on drama. Well, I guess so. I don't know why.
Listen, guys, I'm not trying to. This is not. Listen. This is not about. I don't want to. I'm not here to bash Dave, but I wish he would ask me, like, because I'm his boy. If you're in the mafia and you fucking pull this shit, you'd be dead because you got to take care of your boyfriend. You don't know. You're listening to that fucking guy because he says he doesn't remember. First of all, it's 44 years ago. Again, I didn't say we were buddies. Like, yo, let me go hang out in your house. No, I would drive. I was Botswana, the slave boy. Do you understand what I'm saying? I was a fly on the wall. I was the water boy, whatever you want to call me. But I was a kid in the gym and I soaked it up because they were the big celebrities, They were the big fucking guys. I would sit and talk to Kent Kuhn, at the front desk. What do you want? Anything you want to know? The picture? No. Don't try to help me. If you look at the pictures of me and Samir Banu, if you look at the back behind us, you'll see a wall with pictures cut out of magazines and taped on the wall. That was back right where the fucking staircase was going upstairs and shit like that. That's where we took the picture. Then there's another one where you see the fucking globe where the store is now. I mean, that's how long ago this was. They didn't even put the pictures weren't even a frame. They were cut out of a magazine, stapled on the fucking wall in Gold's Gym. There was just one big room. It wasn't none of that. What it is today, that's Disneyland today.
The dude said, "Yo, Greg, I believe you. Greg doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would lie. Maybe bullshit a little, but not lie."
But why would I fucking lie about that? Like, what do I gain out of fucking telling any of the stories? It's almost like, I told Dave, what do you want? It's like you want to catch me in a lie, or it's like you want to, like, you don't believe me. Oh, you should believe me. I wouldn't lie to you. What do I give? What the fuck do I give two shits? These fucking guys, it's 44 years ago. Yep. What do I, and it's a fact. The story's a fact,
These are
bro.
Facts. These are facts. They're all proven. When all these people, know the story, apparently Lyle's dead. You can't ask his version, but everyone else says it, and all
they were not. It's very easy now for the lone. God bless Peter Barbarian. I mean, God, I don't know what he's going through demons. I guess his brother was, passed away. God bless David Barbarian. He was a nice guy to me. You know what I'm saying? When we worked for MD, he was a photographer when MD. John Romano will tell you. What they want to say they don't remember. That's fine. I'm not butthurt by that. I was again. Look at me. I was a kid in jail. Who you think in 44 years from now you're going to remember some kid in the gym who looks totally different? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, here's the picture of you. Look how different you look.
Yeah. Look at me. I mean, I grew out to when I got back to New York. I had to cut that. I slicked the hair back, and then I thought, because I always had curly hair. And then I shaved the stash, you know what I'm saying? But when I was out there, I wanted, because they were like hippies out there. You come to New York, New York is like more evolved. It's discotheques and shit out there. People were still in like 1981, trucking, like that kind of shit. Like, let's smoke a weed, bro. Where I'm from New York, bro. We were more into club scene and shit. They didn't even have, they had clubs, but it wasn't like New York.
Yeah, our son of Sammy Davis, our friend, what's going on? Says, exactly, Joe. Thanks for coming with the receipts. This is the point that people miss.
Thank you, Nick.
Great research. Greg, we got your back, bro.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, brother.
This is not about me against Dave, but I'm more the Barbarian Brothers saying his shit and making it look like I'm a liar too, and but Dave believing that. That's what I don't like. But he's wrong. Don't say that Alzado was afraid of you guys, or you guys were going to kick his ass. You were not going to kick his ass. No. Okay? Mike Christian would have fucking kicked both your asses. Even, you know who was a bad dude? Charles Glass. He would have fucking kicked both their. You have no fucking idea. Just because the guy, you guys are fucking in the head with these guys who are just big and jacked and strong. You ever see John Bones Jones? There's nobody on this planet right now that can beat John Bones Jones. And he's skinny, right? He's skinny. Mm-hmm. Look at Khamzat Chimaev. He's fucking 6'1" and he weighs like 170. Mm-hmm. You know what he would do to those fucking guys at the same time? Do you have any clue? Mm-hmm. Dude, bodybuilders are not fighters. What's his name? Mariusz Pudzianowski could lift up a fucking 500-pound cement ball. But when he started fighting guys who were skilled, they were beating the fuck out of him, knocking him out like this. And he was a bad dude. He was a prison fighter before he came out of, when he came out of prison, he started fighting MMA. Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's crazy. Like I said, I talked to Ed Connors. I reached out to Mark Lyons, who was Alzado's best friend. I got my wrestler friends to reach out to Dan Gable because they said we train. I'm confirming everything, and the story is true. I guess, like I said, the pal says they want to each remember it differently.
That picture of me in Gold's Gym is on the wall in Ed Connors' office. That's his picture. Okay. That was taken in 1982. They were filming the woman's pumping iron. I had just finished working out, and they got everybody together in the gym, and they're like, "Come on, everybody, come over here." And I got over there, and I just finished fucking working out. That's the picture right there.
That's the picture right there.
All the pro body, but you have no idea. If you keep scrolling in the back, there's guys even in the back. You know what I'm saying? You have no fucking clue how many pro bodybuilders who were superstars back in 1981, back in that. Originally, Bob Paris was standing next to me. Now, I don't know what the fuck happened because they took a bunch of photos of that exact photo that day. And then, I don't know where Bob Paris was because I remember he was standing where the guy in yellow was. So maybe in this picture, he might have stepped back because he was talking with Mike Christian. And I remember because I was right there. I mean, at Connors, I'm in his fucking office. You know what I mean? Come on, bro. Don't act like I wasn't there.
At Freak Cuban, our friend says, "What's up, guys? Love you, Greg. Dave is only trying to get clicks." Well, yeah, I guess.
Listen, I understand. Dave wants to get. I understand. This is not bad about Dave. He wants to get what's his name, Peter Barbarian, on the show. I don't think that this right here is probably, me and Joe here talking is probably going to fuel that even more. Maybe Peter Barbarian will see this and be like, "That's not true. Alzado would have kicked his ass, and you don't know the true story." Dude, I'm telling you, I was there the day that it happened. It happened, I think, over the phone, but I was there when Gronkowski was venting to the guys I was talking to, not to me personally, but I was standing with them. We were talking, and he came over. We were in the back of Gold's Gym. They have a power rack that was the Barbarian power rack. It was past there to the left. That's where we were all. Right near where Tom Platz was doing, where he had his legs out and shit like that. And you see Lou Ferrigno and all them. And actually, Lee Priest, there's a picture of Lee Priest doing a tricep years later. Years later, 10 years later or more. Okay. It was right there where we were standing, and Gronkowski came all the way back there to talk to us.
Yep. Rich B, 1784 said Alzado had a movie career also for a while, made cash from that too. Yes, and he had a TV show too. Like something off the ropes, learning the ropes.
When Alzado, just his last days when he was all skinny and fucking had the headband on it, they show him in a fucking a convertible, really nice convertible car with his fucking the girl who he was with when he died. Now I don't know if it was his wife or his girlfriend. That I have no idea. But he was never poor.
No, so I don't know why he would ask them for $20.
I don't know about that whole thing.
Bodybuilders never have money anyway, so
Yeah, really. You know what it is?
In the 70s, they didn't have money, so.
Dude, you know what it is? I don't know if Peter parties. I don't know. I can't say for sure. But a lot of guys I know that when they party, they start seeing fucking, I told Joe a story. I have a doctor that go to. It's a woman, and she's nuts. And she's telling me about an argument she had with her father. Like, she goes, I had like a 3-hour argument with my father last night. We were going at it. She's telling me all this shit. This is doctor, an MD. And I'm sitting here and I'm talking to her. And then I said to her, well, that's pretty fucking cool because your father's been dead for I don't know how many years. And she goes, I know, but I took some fucking DMT, and that lets you see your reality. Like, you can speak to the dead and all this shit. Some people, I'm not saying that that's what Peter does, but there's other guys, I don't know, you hallucinate shit. All I know is nobody's kicking Lyle Alzado. But when Lyle Alzado was in his prime, the Lyle Alzado I saw, who was a fucking, I didn't want to go near him. You know what I'm saying? I never talked to him. I never said, I didn't go near him. The Lyle Alzado I saw was a fucking monster. And I saw Jeep Swenson here, another fucking monster. Obviously, I was Victor Richards' slave boy for a long time until I finally got pissed after he got mad at me with the arms. And then the other guy who was a monster, who I love to this day, I still fucking post his shit all the time because I love him, is Roy Liedemeier. But other than that, it was like, for me, I was a kid from New York. Here I am. I competed already in bodybuilding. I was a natural bodybuilder. I knew nothing about steroids. And now I'm in Wonderland. I'm Alice in Wonderland. Call me Alice. I'm Alice in Wonderland. I'm over there, and there's like even people like Rudy Hermosillo, who had won a Teenage America in 1979 when I was a teenager. And all these other fucking guys. There they are, standing right there. I love the Dean Tornabene, who was a short guy. He was a monster, and he would be with the Barbarian Brothers all the time. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was like, remember in Revenge of the Nerds when the guy saw the fucking chicks and he's like, oh, yeah, pie. When you're looking around. That's the way I was. I was Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah. And like I said, Lyle Alzado was a borderline Hall of Fame football player, 14-year career, and awesome player. Probably because of the steroids, they didn't get him into Hall of Fame. But he was a borderline Hall of Fame All-Pro player and amateur boxer.
Dude, he fucking won the Golden Gloves. He won the Golden Gloves boxing. He was from Long Island. He won the New York Golden Gloves. And Joe just showed you his fucking record, 44-1. So I don't think he was afraid of the Barbarian Brothers.
Yeah, exactly.
Bodybuilders, weightlifters, jacked up guys are nothing compared to you guys know MMA fighters and guys who are bad dudes.
Boxer who was at a 44-1 record and reached the semifinals in 1969 Golden Gloves tournament. Okay, so he was a legit badass. He knew how to handle himself. And Tom Jackson, who played with him on the Broncos, Howie Long, who played with him on the Raiders, said he was the most ferocious player on the field when he played. So these are guys who play with him, so they can tell you the guy was not scared.
Joe, I'm so sorry. I got to pee really bad because I'm hyper. But listen, didn't Ed Connors also tell you that the Barbarian Bros were known for this shit? That he's had a bunch of fucking.
And that was he said.
I hear you. I'm gonna pee.
So guys, Ed Connors, like I said, told me that he said they were known for this. He said he's seen their apartment, how they lived, and their apartment was a mess. So he says them ruining Lyle Alzado's apartment is not something out of the ordinary. Is just something that happened. That's the way they lived. So that's why it's true. And Ed Connors confirmed it. My only concern is why would Dave stick up for Peter, not his boy Dave, who he has on the show every week? That's my problem with it, because if it is what it is, Rick Simon says, Joe Zapata and Gregg Valentino are good men. Thank you. Thank you so much, Rick. Holly, how you doing, Holly? What's going on, Holly? John Mancini. So Amen, Rick, the best. Thank you, John. Hope all's well with you. Lee Priest is also a good man. Yeah, Lee's also cool. What else we got here? Let's see. Darnito says Dave needs someone to pick on because his wife is okay.
Let me tell you, guys talk about, you don't realize it. Like Jimmy the Bull, all right? He was a powerlifter, but he was a martial artist before he even got into powerlifting. Jimmy could fucking throw kicks and shit. You know what I'm saying? I seen him do expos and stuff, I know Jimmy since the 90s. Jimmy the Bull's legit. His hands are like fucking sledgehammers and shit. And he could, but he was a martial artist before. You can't just lift weights and be jacked and think like that means I'm a badass. You know what I'm saying?
Chris said Dave is gullible and doesn't think people will lie to him. Plus he thinks Greg, Mr. G, and Jimmy aren't that bright. He doesn't take you serious like Romano. he isn't your boy. That's the way you think he is.
No, I do love Dave. Listen to me. He does pick on us, but I think it's because he really likes us. I mean, Dave comes to my house. You know what I'm saying? It's a weird thing, though. I really wish you wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Because the biggest thing is, if you want to believe them, that's okay. You can, whatever. But you should talk to me about it. Don't ambush me where I'm sitting there all of a sudden. I'm like, because you know what happens? It happens to all you guys. Did you guys ever get in an argument with somebody or something like maybe, I don't know, you're in a parking lot somewhere, you start getting an argument with a guy, he says all the shit to you, and then later on it starts, you replay it in your head, and you're like, that motherfucker, I should have killed. Like, sometimes things hit you later. Well, I wasn't really, he had me where, when he's sitting saying, well, dude, Peter says he doesn't know you, Peter says this, you're lying, Peter says that never happened, Peter says that, I'll say, what happens is in my brain, I'm not hearing I actually have to ask Joe, Joe, tell me, am I lying to you? I called you this afternoon and I said, Joe,
did he say this? I said,
did he say it? Because I don't remember. I mean, like, what happens is my brain starts going, I hear in my head because I'm being ambushed, so I'm not ready for it. If I was ready for it, I would have, and if Peter Barbarian wants to come on debate, we could do that. You know what I mean?
We'll take a lie detector test. But everybody can't be wrong, right?
No, I mean,
except him.
Larry was saying the same thing. He kept saying, no, I heard it. It's true, Dave. It's true. It's true. Yeah. And then Dave would say, well, I don't know. The Barbarian Brother wouldn't lie.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, there are some, some people believe their own bullshit too. You know that, right?
Of course. Yeah.
I mean, some people maybe, I don't know, maybe have a bad dream or something. I don't know what the hell happened. A bad trip. You know what I'm saying? Again, I always say that was many, many mushrooms, many, many moons ago, you know, but,
John Klein says, Greg, I know how I fly on the wall at Venice Golds was. I was exactly the same in my early 20s and the late 90s. It was amazing. All the bodybuilders and pro athletes. I drive them around, buy meals at a firehouse.
There you go. Who said that, John?
John Klein, yeah. Our friend John Klein.
There you go. John Klein is a perfect example. He's right. You know what happens? You're a young guy in the gym. They see you every day. You say, see you somewhere, what are you doing here? I'll ask a question or they'll ask a question. And then they see that you're almost like a fan, you know what I'm saying? Which, I was, and it's, hey, do you have a fucking car? Yeah. I had to rent the car. Yes. Oh, give me a fucking ride. And I'd have to give him a ride. You know what I mean? Okay. Like right now, I'd be in the middle of the fucking run, just like Victor Richards. Put the dumbbells down. Come here, give me a help. Give me a lift. And I'm over there fucking taking a fucking dumbbells this big, bro. It's fucking like 3 feet fucking, like it's 240 pounds, 250 pounds, whatever the fuck that was. And I'd have to fucking wheel it over there, then try to get it up and hand it to him. And then to get on the other side, try to get it up and hand it to him. He's doing inclines. And the fucking guy was strong as a motherfucker.
Yep.
And then he yelled at me because the hands would slide. It wasn't a big thing to him, but it was a big thing to me.
Yeah. Chris here said, I messaged Peter before a question about working out years ago. And he started mentioning me in his video, doing his rhyme, talking about I'm near and dear to him. I don't know the guy. His brain is fried.
Listen, a lot of people tell me they talk in rhymes. You know what I mean? Like, when the wind blows, and nobody knows where the wind's going to blow, whatever. Like, okay, good. That's a good one. You know what I'm saying?
Bruno Valentino says, Momo Mafia, so don't fuck around. That's right.
By the way, I think I see my boy Joe Pietaro in here. Joe, what's going on, brother?
Oh, I didn't even see
Yeah, he's in here. I see Muscle Sport Mag's in here, too. But, yes, Joe, Muscle Sport Mag. By the way, you guys should get the next issue of that shit. That's the last magazine around.
Greg Hoffman says, was the Barbarian Brothers sponsored by Carol Milk and Mr. G's Cookies back in the day?
No, it wasn't Carol Milk. It was Carob. C-A-R-O-B, I think it's pronounced. And it was a chocolate. Carob. Let me tell you something about California. The reason why I grew my hair a little afro out there and a little mustache was because I wanted to look like Johnny Holmes. No. What happened was, because Johnny Holmes had that look. Out in California, they were ahead of the curve with all this health shit. There are health places. There was a Rose Cafe. I don't even know if it's around anymore. If Lee Priest is here, maybe he knows. There was a Rose Cafe down the street. I used to eat there. They had all kinds of health food and shit, right? And they have all kinds of health food places out there and health shit. So they would have carob milk. I never knew what the fuck carob milk was till one of the Barbarians, whichever one puked. I don't know which one it was, but he left the fucking container right there on the where the front desk was, and I was looking at it and said it's carob, and it was Carob was an artificial chocolate back then. It was like an alternative. You can Google it, but I never heard of it. You know what I mean? But it was all over the fucking place. Yeah. You know, if you guys read Muscular Development, and I have a story in there where I talk about that, and with a puke and a girl, Joe, do you have the picture? I sent you the girls.
I don't have the picture. No, I don't have it. I have it, but I didn't get it.
All right, you guys can go to my video. You'll see if you watch the video, okay, that I just put out. You can see the girl, the actual girl I was with. There was two sisters that I used to kind of like date and hang out with and stuff. And the one that went with me is the one with the stripes on the sleeve. She did. Now that fucking girl right now, it was like I was 21. She was like 19. So you're talking about that fucking girl right now be like anywhere from 63, 64 years old. She'd be an old lady now.
Did she get spam in the ham can?
No, I didn't. You know, I wish I could tell you that I did that. I didn't. I just made out and shit like that. You know, I wish I didn't fuck her.
William Allen says it's all about Dave getting Peter on his show. It's a way to do it.
I do think that, but can't you do it with somebody else? Look, I love Dave. I'm like a girl and he's pulling my ponytail, you know, and that means he likes me. You understand? Because he does the same thing with Jimmy. Jimmy, what are you doing about the teeth and Dave, what the fuck? And then sometimes Jimmy will leave the show. Or George, hey, George, you punch, what kind of punching is that? It looks funny. And then George gets all men and George don't come on the show. That he does that because he loves us. I know that's a sick way. And I'm not here to bash Dave, okay, but I'm here to show the truth. Yeah. And I am upset that he doesn't take my side or listen to me. I wouldn't, but what do I gain?
Yeah.
Out of fucking bullshitting about that when everybody else has said the same story. Did you tell John Romano? No, I don't believe you. You're lying.
Yep. Son of Sammy Davis said Dave is a classic ball buster. He obviously loves Greg, but people now
he does love me, and I love Dave.
Runs through fucking around like that. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess you're right.
You know, and Joe's not here. Joe's not breaking Dave's balls, but Joe's just bringing out the truth. Joe, let me tell you something. Joe did a fucking amazing job here. I mean, he fucking talked to Ed Connors.
Yeah,
Joe talked to Ed Connors. Okay, there he is, right? There's Joe and him doing a show together, and he talked to Ed Connors, and Ed Connors verifies this shit. I'm on. My picture is on Ed Connors' wall. The beach, and it's me in 1982. You know.
Yep. Yeah, and the thing debating about a Rolls Royce that it was about a car.
I don't know anything about any of that stuff, though.
Lyle Zadel, he said he owned a Rolls Royce, but it was in 1985, sometime in August of 85, and that would have been a little bit later.
Oh, that was way after.
Way later than this fight would have happened. So I don't see that kind of happening. That's why I don't. The timetable doesn't match up.
I was there for almost 2 years. I got there like the last week in December of 1980. But I don't count that because it's a week. You know, it was just before, right after, like a day or two after Christmas, me and my friend left. And I went out there. Okay. But my real time, it starts January 1st, 1981. So I was there then, and all of 82. And I don't remember when I came. I know I came home to see the Night of Champions when Lou Ferrigno was going for a Sinbad movie and he took off his clothes and posed. He was 270. And the crazy thing about that was in February, he was training right next to me in Gold's Gym. And he looked like shit. He looked like a basketball player. He was skinny. So I see him 3 months fucking later, and he gained like 75 fucking pounds.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it was the same guy.
Charlie Arms says, Muscle Sport Mag for life. Greg's a good boy and doesn't lie.
Thank you, Charlie. I appreciate it. But Muscle Sport Mag's the last hardcore magazine, so, you know, you guys should really check that shit out. You know what I mean? Yep. There's some good stories in it.
There he is, our boy. There he is, Muscle Sport. There he is.
Yeah, Joe. That's my boy, Judge Joe Pietaro. You know, we're gonna do stuff with Joe Zapata here. We got to get some boxing shit going in with that magazine too.
Greg,
and you with the wrestling.
Yep. Greg, did you ever see John Cena working out at Gold's? Because I heard one of God's favorite. No, but he was there working with Ed Connors.
Oh, listen to me, guys. I think I have to make this clear again. I was there in 81. And 82. Okay. This is John Cena was a kid then. I'm older than these guys. I'm 65. I was 21. Actually, when the one picture was taken, I was 20. I hadn't turned 21 yet because that was the winter. I think that's when I was with oh no, wait a minute. When I was with Samir Banu. Okay. I think I was still 20. I hadn't turned 21 yet. I turned 21 that year. Okay, I'm born in August of 1960. August 5th. Okay, that's my birthday. August 5th, 1960. The thing is, the thing is when you hear these other guys, I was in Gold's Gym, this one trained, a lot of them trained in the 90s or maybe 89 or, I was there, when Lee Priest was there, it was like maybe 1990, 91, I don't know. But I wasn't there when he was there or John Cena was there or any of those guys. I came way. Now, I did go there again, but I was there for 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? That's when Mike Matarazzo and I, he just did arms. We were training at the same time. I knew him very well. But,
Now, you split up the day. You would go at Worlds in the morning and then
Worlds in the morning. And I was so into it. I would just keep food in my gym bag and I would eat. I'd go outside. I'd eat, sit outside because it was always nice out there. I did the front. There's a parking lot with a little half wall. I would sit out there. I would eat and go right back inside. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't eat much. I ate bananas. And I would eat like a protein bar, like Tiger's Milk protein bars. But, I didn't care. I actually lost weight being out there. When I got home, I was like ripped. But it was such a fucking, I was a fly in the wall, but I just was like there. And I never said that I was one of the main guys there or like I was, me and the Barbarian Bros. I pull my finger, it wasn't like that. Never. I never said that. I said it was
Samir said you should have stayed there though.
Yeah, Samir Banu said you should have never left because I had really good genetics. You see me on that car, I was fucking jacked, bro, and it was natural. Joe, hold on. I'm gonna get my fucking pants. I'm gonna show you something right now. Good, you can read a comment while I go get my pants.
You got it. John Klein said, Greg, Rose Cafe closed December 15, 2034, 1 year ago exactly. I have to find out what that is. Joe Jumbo said, people need to start putting some respect on Greg's name. Yes, they do. Let's see. John Klein, I love the show. My favorite podcast. Thank you, John. We appreciate that, brother. We appreciate you watching us every Thursday night. Joe Jumbo says, shout out to at Muscle Sport TV. That's right, my man Joe Pietaro.
Muscle Sport, bro. Hold on.
Joe Pietaro.
I'm trying to show you something because I wear these are the pants I just wore with Joe. Joe, where the fuck is there's a size 30 waist. These are the pants, Joe. Look, I have them inside out. I took them off fucking in Jersey. I never fucking put them back right side out. Where the fuck is it? I can't see.
Can you show me your waist size?
Yeah, it's 30. This is 30. Back when I was there, my waist was like 28. And when I would diet down, I would compete. It was 26. My body was all an illusion. I was like Frank Zane. I wasn't jacked. When you see those pictures of me when I was a teenager and all that shit, I was super fucking built. Yeah. But I looked like Zane. I was like Zane. I had every body part. When I was a kid, I was like a black kid. I had every body part, before I ever touched the weight. I was muscular as hell. But I wasn't super jacked. You know what I mean? I looked jacked. When I competed in a show, it was a lightweight. I weighed 152, right? They kept weighing me because they said, there's no way. This kid's got to be at least a middleweight or a light heavyweight because I had legs. Nobody had legs in the lightweight. Hold on. Where the fuck is the goddamn... These
John Klein says, Ed Connors remembers everything. I mean, everything. Yeah, Ed has a book out called Three Muscleteers, and it's a great book. He breaks down all these stories about Lou Ferrigno, Richards, the
Joe, I don't know if you can see. This is really small, Joe.
Let me see.
You can see that, but it says, wait, is that, am I showing it at all? Can you see that black right there? It says 30, and I think the length is 32. 30 waist. You see it?
A little bit more. Go up. Oh, wait. More. There you go. There you go. Yeah, I kind of can see it. Yeah, 30, 32.
30 is the 30 is the waist, 32 is the length. These pants are 30. That's what I wear right now, 30 waist. I got other pants. I'll show you. What I'm trying to say is it's an illusion. I'm not fucking super fucking jacked. You know what I'm saying? When I was young. But that's why Samir Banu and everything were like, holy shit, bro, you got my waist was like this, but my legs curve out and they look like they're fucking, I look like Paul DeMeo. As a matter of fact, Lonnie Teeper, if any of you guys have the Iron Man issue with Arnold Schwarzenegger on the cover, it was like a negative when he played the Terminator, he was on a motorcycle. It's like a negative color. It's Iron Man. If you look in there, read the Lonnie Teeper section. He calls me Mini Quadzilla. It wasn't that my legs measured so huge. It's that my waist is small, which created the illusion of the fucking, you understand?
The big sweet legs. Raw Fu said, thoughts about Vince Gradham's physique in his prime. You know Vince?
Who?
You know Vince Goodrums? Did you know him?
You guys are fucking around. Yeah, Vince Goodrum's a nice guy, but he's not. He's fucking playing around.
Greg Hoffman said, "Hey, Greg, do you think Dave will ever sell species in Botswana, where Victor Richards is from.
Botswana. You guys are fucking crazy. No, Dave's got species. Listen, let me tell you something. You can't say shit about species. Is a fucking amazing protein powder and supplements. He does. Dave fucking researches all that shit. He takes the shit himself, so it's not garbage shit. And he just got it in India, and you know who the rep is? Lee Priest.
Wow. You know, and like I said, Dave, I'm not here busting Dave's chops.
Yeah, he knows
Dave, but you know, Dave, I think Dave, you're my boy, Greg. I love you. I would back you up no matter what situation you were in. You know, and I think that he should have been taking your side instead of Peter Paul.
Well, I'm gonna let me elaborate a little bit on that. Let me explain one thing to you guys. I do think that Dave is a little bit of a fan, a little bit too much of what bodybuilding. So, like, if you said to him, could Big Ramy kick like Khamzat Chimaev's ass? And he'd be like, well, Khamzat Chimaev, because he doesn't really follow. I don't think Dave follows MMA too much. But, you know, well, Khamzat Chimaev's like 170 pounds, and, you know, Big Ramy's like 270. Come on. I mean, like, you know, he'd kill him. And I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. You know, just because you got to stop thinking that bodybuilders, you know, are like these fucking, they're not really even athletes. You get that, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not, it's not like, what sport do you see where guys are bodybuilders that are competing in that sport aside from bodybuilding? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. CH says, what up? I woke up after a failed sleep attempt. What's going on? The Great White says, I barely fit 34 pants.
Well, I fit my waist right now is 30, and that's fat. You know what I mean? I'm not fat, but I mean, like, you know, that's my like big waist. But when I diet down, it was 26.
Mm-hmm. John Mancini says Dave owes an apology.
No, I'm not looking for Dave to apologize. But just stop listening because, well, they're the Barbarian Brothers. They're legends, bro. You know how much weight they lift? What does that mean? Nothing. So you actually believe him when you think that Lyle Alzado was afraid of them or that they were going to kick Lyle's ass. Oh, I'm not going to go to the gym. The Barbarian, dude, he welcomed that. He would be like this. He welcomed that shit. Lyle Alzado wasn't scared of nobody.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And like I said, Ed Connors told me that he has seen how they lived. So he knew they were messy and they lived like barbarians. He has it in his book. And so when it happened, he wasn't surprised because that's how they lived. So he did the damage to Alzado's apartment. And I was trying to find out where Alzado was living at the time. I was trying to get where he was living at the house, but he wasn't in an apartment. It was a house that he was renting. But I
it was a house. I think I'm not sure the whole story, guys. So again, 44 years. I think Gronkowski had told me that he went to. It wasn't just telling. It wasn't like me and Gronkowski. But I was in a group of like 4 people, and one of them was Pete Siegel, and he was telling Pete Siegel this shit. So I was standing right there, like, oh my god, you know. So I think he said that Alzado asked them to house sit while he was. I don't know if he asked him to house sit or not, but I think that's what he said. This is 44 years later. But I know that he was away. I think he was in Europe and he came back. Now, let me just tell you something. Alzado fought Muhammad Ali in an exhibition match and was smacking Muhammad Ali hard. And now, Muhammad Ali obviously could kill him because you're not going to compare. But, you know, he was not afraid. Look at him. He was a bull. He was stepping into Ali's punches, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Fact.
Yeah, fact.
Fact.
Yeah. Fact. And another thing is that he was taking steroids since 1969 during his whole NFL career. Sports Illustrated and ESPN confirmed that. Even Alzado said that. So when Dave said he just started doing steroids in '83, when he was washed up and met the Barbarians that were going to train him, who were the first personal trainers in the world. Come on, you know, it's like, okay. You know, really, they never lie.
John Romano says that he trains sometimes with Alzado. Now, you know, I have to take John at his word. Again, no, John, he's not talking about 81, 82. He's talking about much later, probably 89 or something like that. But he will tell you that Alzado was a fucking animal and feared no bodybuilder would walk in that gym and people knew, don't piss him off. He would throw a 45-pound plate like this, like a fucking Frisbee at you. He didn't care. And that's why Ed Connors and them were like, look, I got to calm this down or they're going to wreck the gym and then everybody's going to run the fuck out of there. Do you know what I'm saying? And you can't have that. I had psychos in my gym where I've had to fucking tell them, dude, relax. You know what I'm saying?
Son of Sam said, maybe Greg should rob Peter to pay Paul.
That's good. And you know what's funny? His last name is Paul. Peter Paul.
Yeah.
Peter Paul Amajoy. Nuts. Peter Paul Amajoy is kind of nuts. But No, listen, I'm not mad at Peter. I wish him. I feel bad for him. His brother died, and I know that he's destroyed over there. I'm not mad at anybody. I don't give a fuck. But I got it. You can't call me a liar, though. You know what I'm saying? What do I get out of saying, like, you know? I mean, the proof is that I was there.
Larry told the same story. Larry told the same story.
John, yeah,
John, Larry, Ed Connors. Ed Connors confirmed the story. Right. I asked him, confirmed it for me. Ed Connors. I sat there. Ed, what's going on with the story?
Now, Ed Connors didn't know me. Again, do you know everybody in your gym? I was a kid in a gym, but I'm in his picture.
Yep.
You understand? Yep. From 1982. These are the gym members. These are the members of the gym. You know, when people were working out, I remember the photographer was on the fucking balcony. I called everybody over, and we all stood there like this and took pictures. I remember I went outside. After that, I ate something, come back in to train again. Then I saw Julian Blumhart, a Dutch official, get punched out by one of Mike Mentzer's friends. He went through the wall right there with a fucking, we could ask Ed Connors this shit. Right there with a stairs end, you know, with you go upstairs to the upstairs. First level was a fucking tanning bed. Next level up there was the locker room. Julian Blumhart got punched in the face. Big fat bastard, Dutch official, went through the fucking sheetrock wall, right? And then, I went, you know, people, there was like chaos in there, and everybody's jumping on the guy, and he's in that picture of the guy, and he was what he's like was hanging out with Ray Menser and Mike, and then they were interviewing Roger Callard outside, and I walked out, and Callard said, "What's going on in there?" And I said, "There's a fight. Julian Blumhart just got knocked out by one of Menser, and they all ran inside. Even what's his name asked me the same thing, fucking Casey Viator." You know, Casey Viator was over there squatting and with one plate on each side, real slow.
Yeah. Now, according to the stories, is that, you know, Ed said that there was multiple engagements between Alzado and the Barbarians because they had this love-hate relationship or whatever it was, and there was one time where there was, I guess, Alzado put a towel on a bench. The Barbarians came over and removed the towel and started using the bench. Now Alzado came over and said, "Hey, I was working on this bench." Little bit of argument started, and Alzado supposedly said, "Do you not get paid to knock out punks on the field?" So he said, "I'll take care of you guys right now." And apparently that's what happened. That's what he said. Apparently. Now Dave said that one of the Barbarians got hurt because Lyle punched him. He said that on the show. And he did. I think he threw one of them into a Smith machine. Lyle threw one of them into a Smith machine. That's what hurt his head or something. So he did get hurt. And Alzado was an animal.
You got to remember that gym had Billy Smith, who was a monster, fucking Jeep Swenson. There were other guys that you don't even know their names. There was guys I saw that I have no idea who they were. They were just guys that also but they were monsters. They were so everybody would jump in and, you know, the fight wouldn't last long there. You know what I'm saying? I only know about that one instance. You know, when I was there, the Barbarian brothers carried on every fucking day. They were loud with throwing around weights, you know, and fucking every time. Let's go. You know, when they would lift the weight and shit.
Yep.
You know, so they made, like, you know, other gym owners would have been like, "Dude, you fucking scream and carrying it," but that's what they did. They put on a show. You know what I'm saying? But I just would sit there and fucking, I'd be doing something, but I'd always just watch. You know?
Yeah, that's what I did. Exactly. And the narrative that they said that the Barbarians got thrown out, so Lyle can spread his narrative. All of them got thrown out. All three of them got thrown out at the same time. All of them got thrown out for a couple months. So the only narrative you heard was what the owner said and who witnessed it. And Ed Connors confirmed with me. He says, Joe, the story is true. So there you guys have it. Ed can go on Dave's show, can tell the same story. I don't know. But I looked into it, you know, and there's a lot of discrepancies there that Dave was talking with Peter.
Ed will tell you, though, there's no way that Lyle Alzado was scared of those guys, or that they would have kicked his ass. It's not happening. It's not happening. That would not happen. I would put even Jeep Swenson, who was a monster, was 400 fucking pounds, looked like it's ridiculous looking. You know what I'm saying? Even I don't think Alzado was a skilled fighter too. You guys don't understand that. He won the Golden Gloves. He fucking had 44 professional boxing bouts.
Yes.
It's not like he didn't fucking get punched in the face ever. Look, his record. There's
he was 44-1 and reached the semifinals in 1969. Okay, that's his record.
He was used to fighting. Yes, he fought all the time. He wasn't afraid. You know. Now Jeep Swenson was 400 and something pounds, even taller than him. You know, might have jumped on him and fucking laid on top of him. but it would have been a fucking fight. Alzado would have bit him. He was crazy. He's not gonna fucking be afraid of no Barbarian Brothers.
Mark Lyons,
Peter says.
Mark Lyons, who's Lyle Alzado's best friend, said Lyle Alzado wanted to be a professional boxer before being a football player, but he got selected to be football because he was that good. So you can tell he knew how to fight. He can handle himself.
Oh yeah, I think he had a few, didn't he? I'm not sure, but didn't he like do a little exhibition boxing after he was done with football? Because he was one of those guys, like Mark Gastineau did some fighting and all those other, I think he was one of those guys that did that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now also he was very, very charitable, Lyle Alzado. People don't realize that too. What I found, he was very charitable. So the money, he was always giving out money to people. So I don't know. They said he did a lot with children's charities, a lot of children's hospitals, very big on that. So
that's another thing. No, I'm sorry. Didn't you tell me? See, now I'm really bad. Again, when Dave was hitting me with all shit, when you ambush me, my brain is like, what's going on? What the fuck? And it's like I hear an alarm in my head. Wasn't there something about a grandmother lending money or something like that? What was that about? Do you know?
So apparently the Barbarian brothers got inherited like 20,000, some money from grandparents, and they lent that money to Lyle to buy a Mercedes when he already had a Rolls Royce. But he bought a Mercedes, and that's what started the fight. That's what he said. Nothing about the house, but that can't be true because, like I said, Lyle Alzado, he bought a Rolls Royce in 1985, so the timeline doesn't match up. He purchased in 1985. That's what in 1985. Timeline doesn't match up when he was this. And why would he need $20,000 when he was in a TV show called Learning the Ropes? Football player, he was making money at that time. Owned 2 restaurants. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Even Larry said that. Why would he want to borrow? He was in the height of his career.
Yeah, Larry did say that, right? Like, see, again, my brain, it was like fucking, on like, like red alert, saying when I was being ambushed like that. So I don't, you know what I mean? I
don't know.
I didn't really grasp that part. And now that you're saying it, I remember something like that, but I don't remember like what that whole grandmother money thing was about.
Yeah,
and it doesn't make sense. Lyle Alzado was a professional football player celebrity. Now I know that they made money doing their little movies and a few little crazy things. That's really before they did the movies. They did the movies. I mean, after this, is before the money thing was before they did movies. They did the movies after. But I don't think that they made more money than Alzado. I mean, Alzado was an icon, even in NFL and shit like that.
Yeah.
He did movies. Didn't he have a TV show, Joe, or something for kids or some shit?
Learning the Ropes, and it was a wrestling show.
Yeah, I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think Alzado was broke like that. No. Even when he was dying, I saw he was driving a fucking convertible. He had nice cars and shit.
Yes. Skip, can anyone see my comments? Yes, we can. I'm not sure things are working on mine. Yes, we see your comments, Skip. Thanks.
Yes, Skip, how you doing, brother? Thank you.
Alonzo Procarcho said Lyle had an exhibition fight with Ali. Yes, he did.
Yeah, we just posted that. Yeah, and he was hitting Ali pretty hard. I think Ali was like, listen, you're going to do that shit, I'm going to go fucking full tilt on you. You know what I mean?
Chris said it was originally about the twins were staying at Lyle's house and they broke a expensive mirrored wall and refused to pay, according to a friend on that.
That's the story I heard. That's what I said. Who said that, Chris? Yes, Chris. That's the story I heard. But Dave said on the show that that's not the right story. Larry said it's the right story. John Romano has told that story. I told the story. Okay, I was there when the shit hit the fan. I didn't see it. I was at the aftermath when Grimkowski went to tell Pete Siegel.
At Stephen Palkin said, why does Greg keep going on after hours when all he do is get ambush him?
Listen, I love Dave and I love the show and I love the guys. We're all buddies. There's no problems. I know that it looks bad. Dave doesn't mean it in that way. It doesn't mean that Dave doesn't love me. Dave comes over my house. It doesn't mean that, but it just, I don't like it. It doesn't look good when you don't take your boys back. You know what I mean? You're going to listen to this fucking, guy who's like, yeah. I mean, you're gonna take that shit over me, whatever. But
yeah, I guess so. Will Debley, what's up, my brother? What's up, my brothers? What's going on? Well, we got to get you on it. Yeah, I don't know. That's my only problem with Dave is, I think you're his boy. You're been there a long time. That's it. Defend you. You're his boy.
Well, that's what Jimmy gets mad at, and that's what George got mad at. You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean that he doesn't love George, and it doesn't mean he doesn't love Jimmy. That's the whole idea. You know what I mean? Like, look at it when George was doing the boxing. He was doing hitting the bag, and Dave's like, "Look at that, what are you gonna hit the bag?" And then George is like, "It's Dave, you don't understand. It doesn't look like I'm in it." But and then they go back and forth, and then George got upset, which I understand, and the same thing with Jimmy. Jimmy's gotten so mad,
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that Dave doesn't love him. It means he does. If Dave didn't like you, he wouldn't pick on you. But I wish he didn't pick. It's not that he picked on. I just don't like the whole ambush thing. If you wanted to do that shit, you tell me. Listen, I'm going to bring it on the show. I'm going to say that this, I'm going to bring this shit up, and then you tell your side. But you should always, what do I have to? He keeps saying, why should he lie? Because he's a fucking, he's shot. And he's fucking shot. I don't care about him not right.
He says, why would he lie? Why would you lie?
But my story matches everybody else's. His does not. But mine matches everybody else's that was supposedly there.
Correct.
Okay? Larry was saying the same thing. John Romano said the same thing.
Ed Connor said the same thing.
But you've seen the pictures of me in the gym there. You see I'm in the gym there.
Yes, 100%.
There's pictures of me and Samir Banu. That's when I first got. I didn't have to throw yet. I had, I just would slick my hair back. I had a headband on it. No beard, no mustache and shit. But that's 2 years before Mr. Samir even won the Mr. Olympia.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Raw Dog said Zapata podcast is my top 3. Thank you, Raw Dog.
That a boy.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate
you.
it. Mm-hmm. Let's see. I agree. Jonathan said I agree with Joe. Yes, I do. He should be defending his boy because I would do that to Greg anytime. I wouldn't take some other buddy's, decision. It doesn't make sense,
Right. Oh wait, I see Deanna's on here. She's on. I don't know what she's
Deanna. Deanna's in there. What's up, Deanna? Not for nothing. Jimmy is very intelligent. I want to throw a name out there, but you know who makes fun of Jimmy and puts him down every chance he gets. Jimmy acts his clown. Yeah,
that's what we said. That's what I'm saying. And he does the same thing with me. He does it with George, but it's because he loves Jimmy and he loves me and he loves George. I know that, but it's not. It hurts feelings. You know what I'm saying? I just get butthurt that you don't believe me. You and I've had heart-to-heart conversations. You've been to my house. We go out to dinner. Blah blah blah. You think what do I gain out of telling a story that happened 44 fucking years ago? I don't care if the guy don't remember me. I don't remember a lot of people from 44 years ago. I can't, you know what I mean? This. Mm-hmm. Joe, if I showed you a picture out of your yearbook and I come up and said, Joe, do you remember this kid right here? He's in your grade. You'd be like, I don't fucking know that guy.
I've done it already. I'm like, I don't remember this fucking guy.
You know what I mean? I vaguely remember his face, maybe. I don't know. Some guys you wouldn't remember at all.
Nope. Chris, the guy on GetBig.com said Pete told him that directly. So Pete told him this directly. Pete told him about breaking the mirror. So I guess so.
Okay. Yeah, but see, Pete's changing his tune now, and Dave believed it. He was telling Dave that it was some other reason. I think because he lent money to.
Yeah,
is that what happened, Joe? Because
yes, he lent money for a Rolls Royce. Yes, he lent money for a Rolls Royce.
Over a loan of money, and that didn't happen. And that they were going to kick Alzato's ass.
Yes, and they embarrassed him because he didn't pay back the money.
They're not going to kick Alzato. You're not kicking Alzato's ass. That's not happening.
Yep. Ruben Sanchez said Jay-Z doing research like Johnny Bravo. Yes, I placed a lot of calls.
Joe did a great job.
Everything. Yep. And it's all true. I wanted to back up my boy Greg because Greg's not a liar. He was telling the truth. But
what do I have to gain from that shit? I don't get. And it's the same story. But John Romano tells that story all the time too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he does.
You know what I mean?
What he says. Chris says the guy's name was Keith Jones. Tell him he said Pete told him directly, and the story was shared on Get Big. Okay, Keith.
No, I believe it. Listen, that's the story everybody heard. Larry's not going to bullshit either. Larry, if you watch Larry on that show, it's not Dave. No, that's the way it happened. I heard that, the way Greg said. It's exactly what I said.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I have the same story that's everywhere.
Yep. John Klein said, one day I will share Venice stories with you guys. I was after Greg, 96, 2005. Well, John Klein, yes. Well, one time you can come on and share some stories with us.
Yeah, see, you said you were flying a wall. I was a kid, bro. Again, this is 44 years ago. I'm 65. I was 21. You know what I mean? That was a long fucking time ago. You know what I mean? I don't care if he doesn't, he knows who I am now, but he doesn't equate that little fucking kid with the fucking curly hair and that look like fucking Johnny Watt Holmes with the fucking little 70s mustache. You know what I mean?
Charlie Arm said, Greg, sorry, brother, but I think I'm blacklisted here. Sorry for not being mean for being mean back then. I was out of my mind.
No, you don't blacklisted. Stop that.
Raw Dog says, Greg was the most mental toughness on art. He brings the show to life.
Thank you.
Thank
you. I think that last show, it was, with all that shit that was happening, when Jimmy came on, that's like somebody turned on the light. I was relieved because of all that shit with the Barbarian Brothers ended. Yes. And it was like somebody turned on the light. When Jimmy came on, it's like the show got life. It should have been Jimmy the Bull comes back and tells a story. You know what I mean? Yeah. That would get, but by putting me on there and saying that the Barbarian Brother, who wasn't even on the show, calls me out.
Yep.
He wasn't on the show. That draws more people. That draws the outside people in. You understand? Like, oh shit, there's some drama with that asshole Valentino and the fucking Barbarian, but he puts Valentino straight. That fucking bag of oil, that Cinto. You know what I'm saying? Yep,
exactly. Joe Pietro says the bottom line is that Peter PG from Gold's Gym is the one who first told this story. Everyone else is just hearsay.
Right.
William Allen says, without the whack pack, Dave wouldn't have a show.
Well, I mean, like, I like Chris Aceto too, but when they do that, that's some fucking snooze fest right there. Oof.
John Mancini says, did you see the P. Diddy documentary? Yes, I did.
No, I didn't see that. No.
It was pretty good. It was really good. Go watch it.
I did see the Smashing Machine, though. I did see that.
Yeah, you did tell me that. Joe P. said, the Barbarian Bros are incapable of lying. I puked in my mouth when I heard that. Dave said,
I know.
That's like, what?
I know Dave said that, but the thing is, did you ever see the guy? I mean, God bless Peter. I don't. I'm not trying to put him down, but you drew first blood. The thing is that you watch the fucking Instagram, and I just saw his Instagram. And he was playing guitar, and just it's like I was like, this is like the Silver String Submarine Band, like you, my mother, like in a truck, and it's like, and he's singing, and I'm just like. Remember like when the Little Rascals were doing that and a kid was eating a lemon and they were like, I floats through the air with the greatest of it. Anyway.
Yeah, he said they're incapable of lying. They're like little kids. What do kids do? Make messes of places, right?
And kids fucking tell stories.
Exactly.
Did you pick your nose and put it on the wall? No.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
that's exactly what it did.
No, I didn't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Greg, we're over like an hour and 12 minutes already.
Joe, I can keep going. This is a good one.
All right, we can go a little bit longer if you want. I'll give another 10 minutes.
Let's go like another 5 minutes.
Another 5 minutes. All right. What else we got? We got more questions here. We got a lot of people in the chat here. Let's see. Chris said Pete also said he was going to be on Oprah and that he healed a blind boy. So I won't trust
please stop that. Oh my God, I hope that's not true. Are you serious?
Chris said that.
No.
Muscle Sport Little Rascals Band. Yeah, love that
one. The Silver String Submarine Band. Remember that? They blew the guy's hat off.
Son of Sammy Davis said, yeah, Dave also said Barbarian Brothers stood a chance against Lyle because the hammer curls of 140. That doesn't mean shit.
What does that mean? Dude, I know guys that were the biggest pussies that could fucking lift weights and all that shit. That means nothing. Nothing. It doesn't matter how much weight you could do. Kamzat Chimaev could not probably fucking bench 300 pounds, whatever. But yet, would you want to fight him? You know what I'm saying? Would you stand no chance? Nate Diaz, concave chest. That's all, man. I'll fucking kill you, bro. He'll fucking kill you. You know what I mean? He don't give a shit. He'll tie you up in a knot. You know what I mean? You'll be like, get this fucking, it's like a praying mantis. Get it off me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, holy shit. You ever seen Dakota Ditcheva? I know I was bringing up hot piece of ass bikini girl. Gorgeous, skinny, fucking bikini girl. Not an ounce of muscle on a perfect body. Beautiful face. No, there's no woman on the planet that can kick her ass. She destroys them. You know what I mean? And she destroyed a lot of guys. It has nothing. Skilled fighter. Alzado was a fighter. Okay?
Yep.
He boxed in the ring.
Yep.
44 times. One loss.
Yep.
Well, 45 times because he had 44 wins and one loss.
Yep. That was Alzado's amateur record, 44-1, 1969 Midwest Gold Gloves.
And they keep saying they were wrestlers, but where's the fucking? I don't see any college fucking.
That was one thing is that he said he trained with Dan Gable. I checked the story out with my friends.
Dan Gable. It did squats with him or something. There's a bodybuilder Dan Gable too, which was in that era.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I know a lot of pro wrestlers. I know a lot of pro wrestlers.
I know you know all that shit.
I asked them around. I said, and asked them. They talked to Dan Gable. I said, "What's going on? Did they train there?" And no one can. So far, no one's confirmed that. Everyone said, "I don't think so, Joe." But I'm not going to call them a liar. But that's what they said. That's what they said.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. But they were no college champion, right? I mean, they're not listed as like, when you go to the college fucking collegiate championships.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, you're not taking on Lyle Alzado when he was young in his prime. It's not happening.
The Barbarian Bros were from Connecticut, and then they moved to California.
They went to UConn, University of Connecticut,
and then they went to California.
My friend actually went to college with them.
Yeah, Dan Gable was from Iowa, so I don't know. That's why I don't know. And everyone told me, said, Joe, I don't think so.
The guys that Dan Gable wrestled with college superstars. In other words, like, there's
Kurt Angle.
You can go on. Yeah, you can go online. I mean, Kurt Angle was in the fucking Olympics and shit. You know what I mean? Like those kind of guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not going to just take Joe Matarazzi and shit and start, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. And I reached out to some big wrestlers that people would know if I mentioned their names. And they said, okay, we'll find out with Dan Gable what's going on. They haven't got back to me. And I texted them again before the show. And they said nothing yet, but we don't think that's true. I don't know.
And like, that's like me when I was in Gold's Gym. I never said I trained with the Barbarians. They did shit that I wouldn't even fucking think of doing. You know what I mean? Like, I trained totally different then. But I was in the gym at the same, just like you guys. There's kids in the gym where you guys train, every one of you guys. That's what I was, a fly on the wall. But this was a gym that was at Disneyland at the time.
Ben Garcia said, who are the Barbarian Bros anyway? They're not even celebrities. Alzado was.
They had
in a couple movies.
Yeah, they were in a couple movies. They were funny. They were actually very entertaining. When I was in a gym, I used to laugh my ass off because they would be, they were talking to girls and they'd be like picking their finger with their pinky, which is totally uncool. You got to be Italian. You got to, Italians pick. This is an Italian handkerchief. You pick with this finger. But they were over there like this. They were picking their nose, right? Talking to hot girls. Like I saw him too. When he threw the fart, one of them threw the fart. He was talking to Cameo Newer, who was drop dead. Google her, Cameo Newer. She was Corey Everson's younger sister, and she was drop dead, way better looking than Corey Everson. And back then, those girls would wear, like, they'd have leotards with a thong on, so it was right up their fucking keister. Yeah. And I was like, oh, hi, you know what I mean?
They were in DC Cab, was a very funny movie that they were in.
DC Cab.
Mr. T was in
Pink
it.
Flamingo.
Yeah, there was pissing. They're in the movie called The Barbarians. They
were funny guys. They were funny, but there's a lot of people that from back then. You start, you get a little bit of that fucking many moons ago, many mushrooms ago. You know what I'm saying? You start getting in that shit. And, now when you're like a philosopher, like, the sky's blue and, the blood in my veins are red and who knows what you wear on your head, like stupid shit like that. Okay, dude, stop smoking pot.
Yeah, and I talked to Ed Connors. Me and him were talking, and I got an email from him. And again, he confirmed Greg's story, what everyone else said. And he said, he has a book out and he says they lived like savages. And he said he's seen their apartment. He said it happened to him. Ed said it happened to him. They messed up his, it's a happened. So he says he knows the story is true because Lyle called the gym complaining. He said, where are these guys?
I'm going to kill them when I get there. If they're there, just know, I'm telling you now that if they're in there when I get there, I'm going to fucking kill them right in front of everybody. And that's what Gronkowski said. And that's when Gronkowski said, timeout, everybody in timeout. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, exactly. So, and he threw all three of them out and put him in timeout. Right. So none of them were just staying, like, Lyle didn't stay there to tell his narrative because he got kicked out also.
Right. It was Pete Gronkowski, Paul Gronkowski, and Ed Connors. Those three, those were the guys that had Gold's Gym. And it was Pete Gronkowski who came out and told us the shit. And again, he didn't come out, let me go tell Gregg Valentino. No, I was a kid, but I used to talk with all the guys in the gym, and it was Pete Siegel Gronkowski used to making fun of me, used to say, he would tell me go like this. And he'd go, hey, Pete, look at this guy. He looks like you, but Mom, you're fat and he's muscular. Some shit like that. He used to make jokes. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Chris said Pete is crazy. I feel bad for him.
I feel, I got to be honest with you guys. I feel bad for him too. I do. I feel bad. His twin brother died, and I know he's destroyed over it. Who wouldn't be? My sister just died 2-3 years ago, and I'm still, very, hurt over that. That's my younger sister, But so I'm not blasting him, but just don't throw me under the bus. Make me look like I'm a fucking idiot,
Yeah, Benson Garcia said, hey, Joe and Greg, hope you guys are doing great. He says, I just wish Dave would stop always trying to throw you underneath the bus. That's what he said.
I kind of wish Dave would stop throwing Greg under the bus too. He doesn't mean it, and he doesn't see it that way. I'm just gonna let you know. So it's not. He's not doing it purpose. Just like when he breaks Jimmy's balls or George's balls. If he tells Jimmy, "Oh, your tooth in the back, you got no teeth," and Jimmy would be like, "Why do you say that? Why do you have to fuck about?" Like Dave's. It's almost like a weird way of flirting. It's almost like when a kid likes a girl and he's in kindergarten, he tells her, "Look at you, you're ugly," or pulls her hair or sticks her, in the old days, stick your ponytail in an inkwell or some shit, That's what that's like. He means well, just like with George. Look at the way George is punching. George, that looks like you're in slow motion, because George would be punching a bag like this, and then George would get pissed. But he loves George. Trust me, he loves George. He loves me, and I know he loves Jimmy.
Yep. Valentino, the silly Billy says Valentino versus one half of the Barbarian Bros. Celebrity boxing match.
Dave, let me tell you something. Dave would love that. He would masturbate to that. That he would love that more than anything, because that would bring fucking buku hits. You know what I'm saying? I ain't fight nobody. I would fight Mike Tyson if the money was right. You got to pay me a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not saying I'm gonna win. But at least I got to pay for my hospital bills. You know what I'm saying? Not with the Barbarian. I'm talking about Mike Tyson.
All right, Greg, we got to wrap up here.
Wait, Lee Priest just came in here. I just got to see what he said. What did he say?
Greg Valentino and Joe Zapata said used AI to produce fake evidence.
Wait.
Thanks, Lee. That's not even real.
Lee, thanks for the love, brother.
I don't know if that's the real Lee Priest anyway, though.
Yeah, you know what? Is it the real Lee
Because
Priest?
I said Lee, the T's not at the end, so I don't know if that's real.
Oh, yes.
So that might not be.
See, we got the fake Lee Priest. You're right. Joe, look at Joe, the fucking goddamn detective. Joe Pietaro, if you're still here, call your boys in NYPD. Get Joe a job. Holy shit. Joe, you should team up with Johnny Bravo.
Yeah,
I never would have noticed that.
Yeah,
I never would have noticed that, Joe. How did you fucking see that?
Because I just looked at it, he skipped the picture, but there's no T at the end, so
Oh, dude, some of you guys gotta get a life. My God, are you that bored?
Yeah,
get a girlfriend. Buy a dog.
All right, Greg. Well, we got to wrap up here. Thank Ben Garcia, John Mancini,
thank all you guys. Yes,
Joe
John Mancini. Thank Joe Pietaro.
Joe Pietaro, Chris, John Klein, Holly.
Joe Pietaro just said Joe Zapata's a better investigator than I ever was. That's not true, Joe. You were great. Joe, you come on. You were fucking Detective Sergeant, NYPD. Give yourself.
Yeah.
Thank
you guys very much. Look, Greg was telling the truth. It's confirmed. Ed Connors confirmed it. Everyone confirmed it. Greg's not a liar, guys. He was there. He was there.
You guys don't be mad at Dave. Dave means well. It's not that he doesn't love me. Again, Dave loves me. He loves Jimmy and he loves George, but he picks on us. You know what I mean? That's how you know he loves you. If you don't pick on you, then he don't love you. He must not love John Romano because he doesn't call him out on this shit.
All right, Greg. I'll talk to you.
I love you guys, man. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Thank all you guys. I love you.
Started from nothing. Jersey streets, we owned it. Jay-Z pumping iron. Body builder coding. Gears on the course.